and the commandments given by God. So, in the beginning, before the earth is called into name, before there is an above and below, when we get into the 7-day week, we find similarities of this pattern within the Genesis tale, as well as in the stories of Enuma Elish, and which was based on earlier tales from the Ashurbanipal library of the story of coming in contact with Tiamat, Marduk and Tiamat coming into contact and creating the earth. And we also find the story within the creation of the first civilization of Eridu. So I'll outline the similarities here. That in the beginning, first God is creating light, and he separates the light from the darkness. And this is the beginning of day and the beginning of night. Now, in the Enuma Elish, the beginning of this, at the creation of light, God is creating the world and does so through the waters. Creates a watery goddess named Tiamat. And out of the blue, spontaneously, there is the creation of Nibiru, or Marduk, as he's called. And he is the light that then comes in contact with Tiamat and then divides her into two, separating the waters, or separating her into two, becoming the earth and the firmament of the sky. And this is the result of the creation of day 2. So in day 2, God creates a vault, a firmament. It separates the waters above from the waters below. The vault is called the sky. In the Enuma Elish, the upper part of Tiamat, which has her moon Kiyingu, is sent into the void, or the deep, which is called Tiamat, as used in Genesis. Her lower half is broken into a multitude of pieces and becomes what's called the hammered bracelet, which separates the waters above from the waters below. This creates the firmament of the above, called the heavens, or the sky. And this brings us to day number 3. Since the creation of the earth is there, a day is measured by the orthodox tale of he separated the light from the dark, and this he called a day and a night. So the cycle of the light, this pattern, is on God's time. This is before earthly time, or that we're measuring earth terms. But on day 3, he gathers the waters under the sky to one place, so dry ground appears, the appearance of land and sea. The dry land is called land, and the gathered water seas. He creates vegetation, and plants and trees bring forth seed-bearing fruits. So this is in line with the story that the ancients told, and now the upper half of Tiamat is now called Ki, the firm ground, the land. And her waters, the light and the spirit for her waters to be gathered to one place and ground to appear so that life can flourish. Day 4, in the Genesis tale, he assigns creation to the sun and the moon, a greater light to govern the day, a lesser light to govern the night. God creates the lights in the skies. He separates the day from the night and marks the sacred times, the days and the years. Creation of the greater light sun for the day, of the lesser light of the moon and the stars. So the day, as measured by God, is the realm of the spirit. Is considered a day that hovers over the waters. Creation is of the night. These we call night, and we call day. Moon is to reside over creation. The earth being created because it's divided from the portion of Tiamat, and the light of the sun, or of the spirit, resides over the waters of the deep, Tiamat. So in the Enuma Elish, Kingu, a creature of the night, is granted as Lord of the earth and over creation, and spirit hovers over the waters. The day 5, where the creatures of the animals, the creatures of the birds and the sea come forth. God creates creatures in the waters and birds to fly in the sky. living creatures to fill the seas, and birds fly above the earth. In the Enuma Elish, it is Marduk who has gathered the gods to give their permanent stations and their orbits. He's assigned circuits, and he's put in their place. To those in the deep, in the salt waters of Tiamat, these are what would be considered the fishes, those who are in the deep in the ocean. And the waters above, the planets, the gods, they have their orbit. Circuits he's assigned, because before this, the celestial bodies contained a wandering orbit. But in creation, he's assigned creatures a path. Day 6 is for animals and humans, the creation of animals and mankind. And this is the establishment of locks and gates that is separating what is animal from what is human. Because what is human is very special. They are God's children, which he is assigning a position and sovereignty to. So the strengthening of the gates and the establishment of the home and the foundation is being laid. God creates animals on the land, livestock, creatures move along the ground, wild animals, and he creates mankind in his own image, male and female he creates them. He blesses them to be fruitful and multiply and have dominion over the earth. He provides all seed-bearing fruits and trees. So in the Enuma Elish, it is Marduk who then strengthens the gates of and below, makes the deep his home in the far abyss. And then glory is given to man, and he has dominion over the earth. A great destiny he is given. This is the meaning of the Sabbath, that this day is blessed. He blesses the seventh day, and creation is complete. He rests from all his work. The circuit that is given in Enuma Elish is called a Shar. It is the great orbit of Marduk, or the spirit, and it's a destiny that is given unto him. Sovereignty over all creation, that the gods above and below, in council, they in unison agree that his sovereignty will be everlasting. A son of the sun, Marduk is to be. Okay. Now, in the Eridu Genesis, in the creation of the foundation of Eridu, so we see that God creates a home, Eridu, the far away. It's very symbolic where the story is mirrored above and below. In the Eridu Genesis, those from the Anuna arrived to earth. Coming from above, darkness came, and they see the heavens from the earth, and it's separated by lightning, the light. They see the darkness, the coming of the moon, and the rains that follow. The thunder and the winds blow over the deep, and the storms of an alien god. These are discerning the night and day by the light and the darkness. These he called night, and he called day. The second day, when the civilization Eridu is forming, like any civilization, you were to separate the fresh water from the salt water of the marshes. So this is what happens. The drinking water is gathered and is mirrored in the Genesis tale, separating the sky and the water, separating the fresh water from the salt water. So the third day on the Genesis tale is about the land and the sea. In the Eridu Genesis, water is provided for and food is provided for by bringing forth the fowl, the birds to eat, the fish and the carp, and the planting of vegetation. Fourth day, in the Genesis, the sun and the moon are given their places in order for the measurement of time. So, in the Eridu Genesis, the foundations of the homes are built, and the moon is to rule the night, the sun to rule the day. The fifth day, the fishes and the fowls are separated, and on the sixth day, the abode is completed. Eridu is complete. A fence is built around the perimeter to separate the animals from civilization. This is what is called the Eden, the abode of the upright, the abode of the righteous. And then on the seventh, a day of rest, a home established, Eridu, meaning a home away from home. And just how like in the Enuma Elish, Marduk is granted supremacy, Nibiru is granted supremacy. In the Genesis, humans are granted supremacy and sovereignty over all creation. In the Eridu Genesis, Alalu is given and recognized as the commander of the civilization of Eridu. So these are the connections between the first origin tale of the Enumalish encounter of Marduk and Tiamat, the Eridu Genesis, and the Genesis tale. How we are pulling from the same stories, and the symbols are outlining the sacredness of the 7-day week. God bless.